Modern Mahjong's here with Sunday's Daily Talk of the Tiles. Today's May 25th, 2025. We hope you're having a nice long weekend. Today's tile topic is Can I change my exposure, and what does Rule 7 on the back of the card mean? So if you haven't joined us before, welcome. We post daily tile talks and we share them out to our YouTube channel, as well as many other videos on different topics and replays of our Zooms. We also have a Facebook group, Mahjong Community, with almost 70,000 players, and you could sign up to get our email newsletter at modernmahjong.com. So we've reviewed this rule many times in many different formats, but the questions continue. So we're back with this very important discussion. Sometimes you'll see us do things in different formats because people read things, see things, hear things in different ways, and sometimes it just needs to be said differently for it to click. Before you discard or you do a joker exchange, the first thing you have to do before either of those is confirm you are using the correct number of tiles and correct tiles for that exposure. You would never have different tiles, like a 1 BAM and a 3 BAM, in an exposure. You would never have a 2025 in an exposure. Those are singles or group of singles. So if you're looking at your rack and you see that there's a tile that doesn't match and you don't have Mahjong, check that exposure. Similarly, make sure you put up a pung and then you don't need a kong or vice versa. Once you claim a discard and put it on the top of your rack, or you expose tiles from your rack, you are committed to using that discard. But can you change the actual exposure? What does Rule 7 allow? So let's break it down. First thing, we're reading the rule. On the back of the card, it provides a player may change the number and type of tiles displayed in an exposure up until the player has discarded. So number, meaning you put up 3, but you meant to put 4, or you put up 4, you meant to put 3. You could make it a pung to a kong to a pung until you discard or do a joker exchange. What about if you put up 3 norths and 1 south? If you realize it before you discard or do a joker exchange, you are permitted. That is what type of tile is talking about. But let's get into more detail. The expanded rule from the bulletin and calls to the league also include that a player can't change their exposure once they initiate a joker exchange. So why is that? In order to do a joker exchange, you have to follow the proper order. You can't do it before it's your turn. It must be your turn, and you must have 14 tiles. You get those 14 tiles by either picking from the wall or claiming a discard and completing your exposure. You can't need the joker exchange to do that claim. So once you do a joker exchange, that exposure that you made was locked and you cannot add to it. So while not included in Rule 7, it has been addressed by the bulletin that doing a joker exchange locks your exposure. Here's the question from the bulletin. Can I call a tile for an exposure and in that same tile retrieve a joker from someone else's and add it to my exposure? No, you may not call for an exposure and in the same time retrieve a joker and add it to the exposure. An addition to an exposure may never be made. So that is where the rule is coming from. So maybe in future Mahjong Made Easy, or maybe in future back of the card, they'll add that you cannot make a change once you discard or do a joker exchange. But for now, if you're watching this, you know. So what does this mean during an exposure in actual gameplay? So let's say you claim a tile, you can add or subtract to it, but once you do a discard or make a discard or joker exchange, you are locking it. So let's say back to the norths. You put up norths on your rack, and by accident you include a west or include an extra joker. You realize you only needed 3 or you only needed 4. You can return those tiles to the sloping part of your rack. But the discard that you claimed, you must use for an exposure. And that is whether you picked up the discard from the center of the table or whether you took tiles from your rack and put them on the flat top of your rack. If you did either one of those, and we've discussed commitment to a tile in prior videos, if you've done either one of those, you are committed to making the exposure. So Rule 7 does not permit you to say, never mind, and put that discard back. That is not what it does. Once you exchange your joker or discard, you are locked in place. So we know we're being repetitive. We're doing it on purpose. So here are the key takeaways. You put a discard on your rack, you expose tiles from your rack, you're committed to an exposure. You can't put that discard back. Once you discard or do a joker exchange, now you're set and can't change the exposure. Be careful here. This whole discussion is only talking about that exposure that matches the discard. So it's a north and you put up norths and by accident include a west, you could change that. If you complete that exposure and add another exposure of 3 souths, and then say, whoops, I don't have Mahjong. The league said on their frequently asked questions on their website, you now have a dead hand. So somebody could call your hand dead if that second exposure did not give you Mahjong. Now we know that there's many players, and maybe I should whisper the word friendly. There are many players that have forgiving games by the rules. However, if you don't want to follow this rule and you don't want to call a player's hand dead because they don't have Mahjong and they exposed more than they had, make sure you discuss this. Make sure this is applied fairly. Because what we see unfortunately happen is there's more leeway given to some players than others. The players that win all the time make a mistake and people are like, your hand's dead. But the player who doesn't win as often, people are like, oh, no, 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 no. June didn't realize she was doing that, let her have it. So be fair, be consistent. If you're going to have a relaxed view of the rules, make sure that relaxed view is applied fairly to all. And if you're going to follow the rules, make sure you follow the rules fairly to all. Now for our hand of the day. So we're breaking it down and we're going through hand by hand in the card. We thought this way, our mind plays tricks on us. And sometimes you just don't see a hand on the card. You just go right past it. So we thought if we went through each hand by hand, by the end of 71 days of daily talks, we'll have reviewed all of the hands. And of those 71, there's about 1,002 combinations. So a great exercise is take the hand of the day and see with these 14 tiles, if you take away a few, what hands are you close to? What are good backup hands for these? And if you need help figuring that out, on our website for $10, we have a PDF, 95 pages long. You don't have to print all the pages, but that's available for you to see what groupings are on the card. For example, this hand that we're doing today has 2 pungs of 2s. We have a page that shows you all the hands that have like number pungs, as well as all the hands that have like number 2 pungs. So those are great to know if you're committed to a hand and then certain tile you need is taken, exposed, discarded, where can you back up to? And that's a skill that really sets apart beginner players from more advanced players. So back to the hand of the day. 2025 number 4 is a pair of flowers, a pung of 2s in any of the 3 suits, 3 white dragons as 0, which are, remember, suit neutral, so they do not count as one of the suits for the any 3 suits. We have another pung of 2s, and then we have a pung of 5s. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14 tiles, just making sure. So those 3 pungs, the 2s, the other 2s, and the 5s, are in 3 different colors. That is not dictating which suit you need to make, but just that you need to make them in 3 suits. And just because the 5s are in the same color as the 0 does not mean that the 5 need to be dot. That pung of white dragons used to 0 is suit neutral. A reminder, concealed hand here. So all of the hands that are concealed, if the section has one, are in the bottom of the section. So before you go to expose anything in this hand, remind yourself, nope, can't make an exposure until I win. You could either pick or call your winning tile for either an exposed or a concealed hand. Remember, you can never pick a joker. A correctly discarded joker is the safest dead tile. So if you're interested in our Learn the Card and Prepare to Pivot, we have a full Zoom on it on June 5th. It's going to be the same of the other Zooms that we've done so far, but we've had requests to do another live talk. It's going to be Thursday, June 5th at 7 p.m. Please make note of the time zone. It's Eastern Standard Time. 75 minutes, live only. Space is limited. You could register for $36 on our website. And if you have family and friends that are looking to learn how to play, we have a 4-part series coming up. They will be playing by July 4th weekend. So get ready to play June 23rd, 25th, 30th, and July 2nd. If you can't make all of these live at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be sending the replay to only the registered students, and that will be available for a month. And here's the information on where to get our PDF on our website. If you play Canasta and looking to improve your game, along with Donna Miller Small, I'm holding a 3-part series. This is really helpful to improve your game, Make sure you understand fundamental key rules and strategies, and it is available through My Jewish Learning. You can go to bit.ly/Canasta June, and that'll be the My Jewish Learning link to register. We are very excited. Our Canasta convention is filling up. It's taking place October 11th and 12th at the Honors Bridge Club in New York. Hope you could join us. If you have any ideas about other future Daily Talk of the Tiles, we have a list going on our computer of the next couple topics, more than a couple, next few topics we're discussing. If you have ideas of things that you would like us to discuss or hands that you're confused about, send us an email and let us know. As you could tell, we don't gatekeep all this important information. We want to help players learn the correct rules, weed out all of that misinformation out there. We know people have good intentions and want to help and share and grow their social media, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. Maybe they were taught incorrectly, or maybe they just learned house rules and don't realize they're house rules. We always post the official rules. That's what all of our graphics are about. And we don't dictate that that's how you have to play. We just think it's important that's how you learn, and then you can play wherever you go and recognize house rules. So if you aren't following us and this just happened to be sent to you or in your feed, what are you waiting for? Tag your friends so they don't miss out too. You could find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Like, comment, save, and share so you could find these videos again. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you have a great day and a great game.